Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan, and so excited to be with you on a Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, the weekend's here, and I love spending time with you guys talking about our favorite topic, man. It's real estate. It's what we live and breathe over here, and it's that time of the year. November's here. The holidays are around the corner. It is so hard to believe that the holidays are right around the corner. And I say that, it's like, my wife was like, the kids are ready to start decorating for Christmas. I was like, how is that even possible, guys? So that's how the year's gone. 2025 is almost over. It's hard to believe. Real estate market's heating up. A lot of things going on. Government shutdown still there, and so much. Always makes real estate interesting. And we've got a great show for you. We're talking about small fixes that actually do pay off. So if you're a seller, you're going to be selling your home. Maybe you're trying to get it on the market now. What are some minor touches and things that we can do now that will impact the value without spending, say, renovating that whole kitchen? And then we'll talk about a little bit on the second half about the government shutdown. How is that affecting the real estate market? And then if we have a little time, we'll kind of tweak two of the things that we're seeing that our deals are coming out of contract. If you watched on Zillow or Realtor.com or different places, and maybe you see this house pop up on the market and then it goes back on the market. Why is that? We'll talk about that and so much more. Real Estate with Ryan. All right, as always, before I get going, I got some congrats, new listings, things like that we need to talk about. That's so important. All right, so been busy over here. New listing on 2101 Redbud Road in Sevierville. Beautiful cabin. A lot of interest on this property. We'll go quickly. Make sure you check that property out. Great new listing that not too long on the market, but a great seller went under contract in Tellico Village, 106 𝐘𝐿𝐄𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐒 Lane. Congrats to our great seller there and our great seller with an amazing review. Appreciate you so much. 2876 Pine Haven Drive. Great client, past client, sold two cabins for him. Super excited for him. And I think I was chatting with him a little bit last week, and this was a gentleman that was said, hey, Ryan, now we've sold our cabins, and really, I can retire debt-free if I want to. It's not going to stop working, but that was super exciting to be part of that as well. So, been busy week. Like I said, if you're tuning in for Real Estate with Ryan, you say, who's that guy on the radio? My name's Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty, and we do this show every Saturday. Like to have fun. Been doing it 9 years running. And we talk about the East Tennessee housing market. What's going on? It's a buyer's market, seller's market. What's going on with the interest rates? Today we're talking about little tips that you can do that make a lot without spending a lot. In today's economy, you can't afford to keep spending. I was at Home Depot the other day, and it seems like, I swear to you that I was in there one day just a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at the price tags, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how much per foot? I know I'm not the only one out there, guys, so I know you're seeing the same thing. In a conversation with one of our clients today, it's just how long can the economy sustain the prices? And so that's one of the biggest things that we're seeing here. So I said, well, why not talk about some things that we can do that doesn't break the budget, right? And that can give the most bang for the impact if you're selling your home. If you're listening to us, make sure you check us out on our partners. Every Saturday, we're live on News Talk 98.7 at 1 p.m. Great partners there. Been there 9 years. Appreciate all the listeners and support there. And then another partners, News Talk. We talked about that. And then Talk Radio. 92.3 FM. We're at 11 o'clock on there. Also streaming live on their social channels. So in case you miss us here, you can always catch us live there, streaming on the apps. And of course, social media, we're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, X, you name it, YouTube, we're there. Of course, with all the apps, Spotify, Google, etc., etc. So lots of places for Real Estate with Ryan. And for all your real estate needs, the real estate market is always had some great real estate agents, and they're out of Denver, Colorado area. And he owns an auction business. We'll be listing his property up here soon, and we're just chatting. And so our market's just so different than most other markets. So you need an expert in your area. You need a great team that's got your back, that can help market and reach the right buyers and audience for your property. And we love doing it. So if you need any help, we're always here for you. Let's talk about the small fixes. People decide to sell their home. They say, Ryan, what's the first thing I should do? How do I get more money? And probably the first thing you hear is, what? I need to remodel the kitchen. Like, no. In some of these houses, you could spend $50,000 to $200,000 or $300,000 in a kitchen in a blink of an eye. So let's talk about some affordable things that don't involve redoing the whole kitchen. Some things that maybe can be done a little DIY, right? A little DIY is always good. Talk about the curb appeal. I still think in today's market, we overlook curb appeal more than you know. My neighborhood, you drive through the neighborhood, and then you see curb appeal, then you not see curb appeal. And so curb appeal still ranks number one as some things that you can do, especially DIY, as now it's the fall. A little mulch, a little landscape. Doesn't have to be over the top. Having your curb appeal, I mean, this should go for saying, but some of these things are important. Making sure your bushes, everything, the siding, we're coming out of spring and summer. Nothing's worse than just a dull vinyl siding. Get the power wash out there, get it clean. Make the front door. It's very impactful. I know there's I've got kiddos, right? And they're in and out and the dogs, but get you a fresh coat of paint, new mat. All these things are minor, but they're big on impact. And they show up big time on our pictures. Marketing is key. And I think probably the biggest thing is buyers used to do a lot of drive-bys. Buyers still do a lot of drive-bys, but 87% start their search online. And that line online are the pictures, the first presentation that you have. And, if you've got weeds, flower beds, or the doors looks faded and it doesn't look bright and crisp and has that bling to it, right? Then your buyers may look over it, or they may not get the showings and the views that we need. Some of the most important things, I don't have to even say it, but, we went through the homes, and I've got them on my stairs. You've got the kiddos. You're going up the stairs. You got the handrails, and they're all over the place. You got dogs. Make sure you take a little bit of time before putting the house on the market, touching up the paint. You don't have to repaint the whole house. Hopefully, you got the same paint. You can match it. They've done amazing stuff now where you can take just a sample of paint and then go get that match pretty well without painting the whole place. But fresh paint, neutral. Modernize your grays, your creams, your soft colors really make a difference. I can't tell you how many light fixtures would go on a property. And probably one of the biggest things, my photographer, he's always going to preach this. But a lot of our pictures online, you can go to our website and that's ryancoleman.org, and look at some of our photos. Look at the product that we put out. Obviously, we're only as good as our clients' properties. And they do an amazing job. We got some beautiful properties, some of the best in East Tennessee. But look at the detail in some of the pictures, and a lot of that comes to great lighting. Making sure you have all the light bulbs for all the lights, right? Make sure we don't have a yellow one and a white one. These are big deal. Make sure that you have all your lighting in all the rooms, ceiling fans, small things like that. Fixtures that are dated. The dated fixtures, the 80s or the 90s fixtures, they're broke, guys. We've got to get rid of those. And they've got fixtures now. Now this Black Friday actually is officially here. They've got tons of fixtures for cheap that take in that bathroom with a new fixture, new lights, new LED lights for under $100. And they're really lighting up stuff. So a little paint, a little light makes a big difference. A lot of lighting changes the mood, changes the presence, and everything online. We probably all have enough stuff that we just, we need a big storage shed in the back. Some of my clients, I say, hey, we're just going to get junk be gone. We're going to get a dumpster and pull it up to the front of the garage, and we're going to start getting rid of that. So number 3, let's talk about declutter. Getting rid of all of your stuff that you don't need, especially on the garage. Garages are key. I know I've got tons of stuff in my garage. But that's not what the clients want to see. They're looking for the property. They're looking to put their stuff there, but sometimes they can't see that when you got all your stuff. So declutter, get a storage unit. A lot of my clients have listened to our advice, getting a storage unit, getting stuff out. My father-in-law, he's doing the same thing. He got everything out. We were over there the other day, and it's like, where's the house? It's empty. I said, it looks like a spec house, but he knows what he's doing. He's getting the property ready. Rooms look bigger. He's changed the painting. These are big things. Now it's kind of a lighter color, so the smaller the home, it looks larger, and these are big things. Fixing the leaky things. Bringing up my father-in-law. big things that if you see something now on the front end, we want to address it on the front end. Inspection is going to be big. We talk about that in the second half of what some of the reasons why deals are falling through. Well, I'll kind of give you a preview. Inspections go up there, with the market and everything. So making sure that any leaky faucets, squeaky doors, loose handles, any signs of, structural or termites or windows, these are things that are so important that you want to fix on the front end. Hey, the second half's coming up. Stay with us. We'll talk more with Real Estate with Ryan on the second half.
When speed matters, every second counts.
Wow, that was fast.
In real estate, speed is an advantage.
In football, speed is crucial.
In softball, speed is game-changing.
If you want your home sold fast,
Trust Ryan Coleman and his team at Hometown Realty for fast results.
Thanks, guys. Go Big Orange.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty. The real estate market's changing every day. You need to know your home's value in today's market. Text your home address to 290-2290 for an instant, no obligation home evaluation. That's 865-290-2290. And remember, when you're ready to sell, we have a guaranteed sale program to get you in your next home stress-free. Trust your hometown experts. We've helped thousands of people just like you.
All right, we're back at it, second half Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for staying tuned. Thanks for staying with us during the break and talking about little things you can do that don't cost a lot, right? That can improve your home's value if you're thinking of selling here either this year as we go into 2026. Hard to believe, 2026. It's got a ring to it, but 2025 is quick. I know it's hard to believe, and the holidays are around the corner, so we won't talk too much about that, but I'm excited about Thanksgiving, time for family, slowing down, but the housing market, it's not slowing down. It's a little sluggish, but not slowing down. Government shutdown, we'll talk about that in just a few on the second half, and then we'll talk about seeing some of those pending signs and then go back active. What is causing those? There's two major things I want to talk about before we get out of here today, and what you can do to prevent those and what you can do to kind of help make sure that you're not one of those homes that comes off the market and then has to go back out active, okay? And we've just had that happen to us too, so it happens to the best of us, but we can talk about prevention, some of those things that we can do to be on the lookout. So as always, let's talk about our 60-second vol update. Let's start with that so we can get right back into our show. All right, drum roll, please. All right, the Vols are in action. Lady Vols action. Men in action. Football's on a bye week. So got a busy week. So we got a home game for the men. Football is going to be here on, Neyland. So we're off a week. So next weekend, November 15th, 4:15. They've already announced the kickoff time. We play New Mexico State. Make sure you get to our pages. Like, share, and follow. We've sent a lot of people to the game. Parking passes, autographs. Again, all those fun things. Make sure you like, share, and follow our page. We'd love to send you, courtesy of Hometown Realty. Got a men's game coming up, Food City Center. Let's see who we're playing. The Kentucky Norse, Northern Kentucky Norse. So not sure who they are. Hopefully a big win there, but should be a good game. Go check it out. And then, of course, Lady Vols, Belmont Bruins versus the Lady Vols, playing November 13th at 7 p.m. So, again, Lady Vols, men's, football, basketball, all you have to do is go to our pages. We love to send you to the game, courtesy of Hometown Realty. Like, share, and follow is all you got to do. Of course, that's our 60-second Vol update. Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Vols. Go Big Orange. So a lot of news there. As always, good time of season. Basketball, football, a lot of things going on, and a lot of things going on in the real estate market, heating up, keeping us busy, keeping us on our toes. So as we were talking before the break, fixing the little things mean a lot. We're talking about lighting, fixtures. We're talking about painting. All those things are so important. Let's talk about smell and sound. If you're like me with kiddos and dogs, one of the biggest things that you can do in a showing or having buyers come through is have a great smell. And somebody that doesn't have dogs or animals, you go into a house and it smells like dog or cat, or if you smoke in the house, These are things that will deter showings and have buyers in there and turn around pretty quickly. So, yes, you can do the neutral air fresheners and the Febreze and all that stuff, but it really doesn't work well. It doesn't last long. So, professionally have your carpets cleaned before putting the home on the market. Make sure that if you have a kennel or dog crate, try to keep them in there as best as you can. I know some of them, I've got older dogs, they're not going in a kennel. They'll just be howling all night. And so it makes it tough. But do your best before putting the house on the market. Get the carpet people to have the nice smelling stuff in the carpets. It's very, very, it's kind of a pet odorizer or neutralizer, as they would call it. And works really well. We've got great vendors if you want. You can go to our app or just message us. We'll give you some of our great vendors and a discounted rate there if you just mention us on the show. So make sure you mention us and we'll get you the great vendors. They do a really great job. Avoid the candles. I know everybody's got the candles and things like that. Avoid heavy scents. Lemon or linen really works best for pets, believe it or not. That fresh smell. And all the dogs' toys and all that stuff, try to do your best that you can to maintain that, because there are dog babies, man, they're family. So I understand that balance between getting your home showings and getting it sold. Just a little bit of inconvenience makes a big difference. Taking the dog babies with you, I don't think we talk about that enough. We had a showing and the dogs are running around the house and the owner's there, and it makes it tough, right? It makes it really, really tough. And so the opportunity of being on the market, right, with the dogs, with the owner, all these things make it very, very challenging. So do your best. Take them with you if you can. And, these things happen. Sometimes you got to put them in the backyard. Even if you got to be there with them on showings, it's okay. It happens, right? Most importantly, in today's market, we want to get people in the door, looking at the property, and people understand it. We got some of the best people in East Tennessee. We get it. We live in the house. Sometimes it's not possible, but I always encourage my sellers. Listen, if you're showing a property, sometimes it's hard, but buyers really want to walk through, and they don't want the seller walking through behind them, or they don't want them even over in the kitchen. And it may make it tough, but buyers really want to talk to their agent. They really want to walk through, take their time, and sometimes they feel rushed if we can't do that. Now I'll talk about our Smoky Mountain properties, everything in Sevierville and Gatlinburg. I don't think we talk enough about this, and I thought it was a good topic to come up. So driveways, porches, rails, decks, all that's self-explanatory. Make sure you have a good stain on your decks, railing, make sure boards aren't loose and things like that. Those are all very, very important. But another thing that we don't have a chance to talk about are a lot of properties in Sevier County, and whether they're not state maintained or county maintained, really state, and then there's side roads. And those side roads, a lot of times, are not covered by the county. And so the county and city are not covering it. I mean, it's owners. So the owners have to maintain it. Well, if you're looking out in Sevierville and Gatlinburg, we own one. We're dealing with the same thing. Guess what? With all the weather things and traction and construction and things going on, what do we see? A lot of potholes. So not only on your short-term rentals, you've got a long driveway or a long road that leads to your property. Now you've got potholes. Some is paved, some is not. What are you going to do? Well, the answer is that old saying, if you don't do it, it ain't going to get done. Well, that's probably the answer, because the problem is when you're looking at a property and you're selling it, especially as an investment property, or it's your own residence, a lot of owner occupied in Sevierville as well. The last thing the buyer wants to do is drive down that road, and we've got all these potholes. Could be affecting your rentals as well. We actually had somebody make a comment on that the other day. So what do you have to do? Well, at the bare minimum, you've got to go, if you can get some neighbors together, make sure you get those potholes addressed. But it may not happen, and you may be on a time frame. We need to be selling our property, or we're right now, as I was talking to a great client, we're at the end of the year. we still have probably 50 days left to do any tax-deferred exchanges, 1031s, anything that we're going to purchase by the calendar year of 12/31 where we can have bonus depreciation. It has to fund and close by the end of the year. So we can't wait for 2 or 3 weeks to maybe gather all the names of everybody up. So you know what? You may have to take your buddy, you may have to get some friends together, and you may have to get those potholes with some gravel in it. But that may be what is needed to get your property sold. So these are things you don't think about in the Smokies or things that you need to do. Now, if you're not here, that makes it tough. We got great vendors. We can help you out with that. So we can take care of that. But these are things that, a little bit of labor, a little bit of gravel, but may make a whole big difference in putting the home under contract. Now, if you're thinking about selling and you're wondering what your value is, you're wondering, hey, things are changing. We got all the Zillow estimates out there. We won't even go in to talk about that. That's a whole topic itself. But, the Zillow estimates are not right. They're not accurate. It's not even close to being accurate. So if you want to know your home's value, maybe you're not ready to talk to somebody. Obviously, you can give us a call, 693-7653. So 865-693-7653. But better yet, sometimes maybe you're not ready to talk to anybody. You can go to our website, ryancoleman.org. Feel free to go there. We'll give you live information of what your home's worth real time, as long as you give us the right information. And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. That's the process you want to start out right now, is to get an idea where you're at, real numbers from a real agent that does a lot of business in the area. That will be very helpful. Then you'll know exactly what you have to do or not do to get your property ready. I think, one of the things that are most important, I don't have time to cover all of it. We'll talk about the government shutdown. You don't even have time to go through all that. We'll cover that next Real Estate with Ryan. We'll talk about the government shutdown. If it's still shut down, how is that affecting the East Tennessee housing market? Hope you guys have had an amazing weekend. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you for always tuning in with us with Real Estate with Ryan. If you need us, we're always here.